The goal of the model training process in machine learning is to produce a trained model that you can later use for making predictions. Now, from a mathematical point of view, the objective of such a trained model is to predict the value of a feature, y, based on a set of input features x. Those input features might be categorical, discrete, or non-categorical, or continuous. Now, what is important here always is to first and foremost establish the problem that you are trying to solve. Like, for example, is this a classification problem? Should I predict the kind of classes that a certain input set of data belongs to? Or is it, for example, a regression where I need to predict a numerical problem, like the future revenue that will be generated by a category of customers? And remember always this type of problem, the framing of the problem will influence both the choice of your algorithms that you use in the training process, as well as the various approaches that you can take to get to the desired result. Now, as we have discussed previously, the important prerequisite, the step you need to perform before getting to the actual model training is understanding your data, transforming the data, creating those new features that could be more relevant to the model training, and finally selecting among the existing and the newly engineered features the one that proved to be most relevant to the training process of your model. Once you have both the problem time defined and the input features identified, the next step in your model training process will include several stages. First of all, you will decide whether you need to, for example, either scale or encode your data. Next, and this is a critical step in machine learning, which you will see in virtually every single training process, is splitting your data into three major sets: the training data set, the validation data set, and the test data set. Now, we will talk in more detail about these later, but you need to remember here that the training and the validation data set are typically used in the training process, and the test data set is used to validate the outcome of the training process, which is the trained model. Now, based on the problem type that you have defined, you will see that there are one or more algorithms that are suited for that particular problem type. And at the beginning, as you enter the world of machine learning, you might find this identification of algorithms that are properly suited for a problem type to be kind of a daunting task. But don't worry, don't get discouraged. There are several kind of classical standard choices that you can make. And as you understand more, as you learn more about machine learning in general and the training process in particular, your skills will enable you to make better and better choices. Now, finally, model training is the process, the iterative process that involves selecting the hyperparameters, training the model, and then evaluating the model performance. And finally, once you have the trained model, what you need to do is to run that model on the test data set. And remember, the test data set was not used at all during the training process, so it is a fairly good indicator of the performance of your model on new data, which is data that the model has never seen before. In this chapter, we will introduce you to a set of managed services, the Azure Machine Learning Service, that will provide you a comprehensive framework enabling you to implement all the aspects of the model training process while providing you with a centralized place to manage all the involved artifacts.